Hello. Today we'll be going over the top 5 best and worst books I've read thus far. I started my reading journey maybe like a year and a half ago. I'm not a fast reader. I'm not an obsessive reader. I read when I have time and that's just about it. So I don't think I've read that many books for me to have a crazy list of books to choose from. So let's get into it. First we're going to jump into the 5 worst books I've read. These aren't really in order because they're just bad. There's nothing else to it. In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. This book did nothing for me at all. It confused me like 80% of the time. The ending wasn't satisfying and actually was a really sad book. I think I almost cried at this book. Now you may be thinking, you cried, it pulled emotion from you, that means it's good. No, it was bad. The writing was stupid, it's too short to actually amount to anything. There wasn't really any depth. It was just like a sad storyline and then the ending just crushed you. It wasn't worth the negative emotion it drew from me, so I didn't enjoy it at all. Okay, don't get mad. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This book took TikTok, BookTube by storm. When it was popular, I picked it up. I was like, this is gonna be a good book, it's gonna be awesome. Dude, cheapest book I've ever read. I felt robbed. I felt very confused with why is everybody obsessing over this book? It's not even really that good. It made me question the opinions of a lot of booktubers that I used to watch. I was underwhelmed. It was fun, it was light, but it was so dumb, and looking back, I wish I had never read it. Next one isn't horrible, but it is pretty bad. Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. This is the first Elle Kennedy book I've ever read. I didn't want to pick up the Briar U series because it's pretty long and extensive. So I was like, let me just see about Elle Kennedy's writing. And I think this is her latest release. Underwhelming to say the least. You know, there was a good bit of drama. The characters weren't insufferable, but I was just so bored the whole time. It was one of those books that I really had to push through to actually get to the end. Unsatisfying. This one won't be surprising because I did a book review on this, and if you watch that, you know how I feel. Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. If you really want to hear my thoughts on it, go watch my book review. I would never recommend this book. Ever. Let's just say I was annoyed through probably like 98% of this book. Nothing about it is redeeming. Extremely underdeveloped, extremely stupid, extremely unrealistic. And here's the thing. I don't read books for them to be realistic. Like, obviously they're a book. Fake world, fake people, fake stories, you know. But this book, and I think most of Colleen Hoover's stories, are written in a way to be believable to the reader. This was extremely out of pocket in the sense of 90% of the things that happen in this book, or 90% of the things that characters said in this book, I was like, there's really no way. There's literally no way. So that was annoying, and it was really distracting, and it was hard to get through this book. So that's why this book makes the top 5 worst books I've ever read. I regret reading it. Okay, this one is going to be very controversial because a lot of booktubers that I follow love this book. I'm scared to say it, kinda. I hated this book. It was stupid, and you know, it could have been that I went into it with really high expectations because everybody raves about this book, but it was so dumb to me. Beach Read by Emily Henry. Now, before you start screaming at me, what the heck? I don't think I have ever fully been underwhelmed by a book so much as I was with this one. This is like a joke. I fully am like, I cannot believe that this book is raved about as much as it is. I feel like maybe I'm missing something, like maybe there's something wrong with me, because the amount of reviews that I've read about this book or watched about this book, they're all great reviews. And I hated this book. It was stupid. The characters are named Augustus and January. Like, it's so dumb. I couldn't connect to the characters. I honestly tried to fall in love with Augustus. I tried. Because everyone was like, Augustus is perfect. I love Augustus. Perfect, like, man character ever. Dude, so underwhelming. So, like, I'm, like, I can't do anything but laugh because I'm like, am I the problem? You let me know in the comments. So those are my top 5 worst books ever. Let's get into the top 5 best books ever. Starting off very strong, we have Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay C. Gibson. This book is a psychology book. It has nothing to do with fun feelings and everything to do with horrible feelings. There's a book review up on my YouTube channel about it. If you're interested in learning about what this book is about, go watch that because it changed my life. And honestly, I can't rave enough about it. If there's one psychology book I will ever recommend for the rest of my life, it will be this one. Next we have Culty by Mariana Zapata. Now, I went through a Mariana Zapata kick, I want to say maybe a year ago, and this was by far the most outstanding one. It gave me all the feels. The storyline was very unique to me. I had never read like an age gap romance that way. It was satisfying, it was fun. I liked the slow burn. So Mariana Zapata is mainly known for slow burns. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but She is like very good at building a slow burn. I have liked most of the books I've read from her, but I'll be honest, I think I've only read 2 or 3. So I'll be reading more of her this year. But Colty really stood out to me, and I think it honestly is one of the best books I've read. Next, we have the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. Now, this is a 5-part book, and I think originally it started as a Wattpad or a fan fiction of some sort. This book is the printing of all 5 parts, so it's pretty thick, but the font's pretty big, as you can tell. During this book, I struggled through it because it was so, like, scarring to me. It's a very interesting storyline. It's, like, unique in that I don't think I have ever and will ever read a book like this again. It follows this girl who is a serial killer, and we follow her through why she's a serial killer. You know, she ends up falling in love with the FBI agent who's on her case, and it's like very well written, very thorough, very intricate, very detailed. Only now, months after finishing, am I able to look back and see this book for its actual face value, because it was honestly kind of disturbing while I was reading it. I couldn't read late at night, and I could only read like a certain amount at a time because it was so like, it's just rich in its story. But looking back, I'm like, this is honestly one of the best books I've read because it is so perfectly rounded. The universe is crazy, the characters are crazy, the storyline is crazy, and it's really good. I definitely would recommend this book. Number 4 is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. I can't tell you enough how much I enjoyed this book. Look at these tabs. This is a duology. The second one is Daughter of the Siren Queen. The duology in itself is one of the best duologies I've read. I only picked the first book out of the duology because it was so transformative. It's a YA romance, so there's nothing crazy steamy in it with the characters. This duology is such a good slow burn. It is so satisfying. The main character, Alosa, is everything to me. Starting to read fantasy is one of those things where you're kind of like scared because there's these crazy long series and stuff like that. I would recommend, if you're starting off in fantasy or wanting to start reading fantasy, this duology by Trisha Levenseller would be perfect for you. It's great. The world building in it is not like soul sucking. It's never dry. It's really good. It's fast paced. There's a slow burn romance in it. And I honestly I can't rave about it enough. I sent Trisha Levenseller a like full video review on Instagram through her DMs, and she replied to me and was like, "This is so funny, haha, something." I'll post screenshots, see if I can find them. But I honestly couldn't believe she replied, and I was like, dude, I love you so much. Like, thank you for writing this duology. I loved it, and I still love it, and I will continue to love it. Best duology I've read in a while. Next, you're gonna roll your eyes because it was hard to pick just one. The Wicked King by Holly Black. Now, this definitely goes hand in hand. It's a trilogy, you know, the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black, Folk of the Air trilogy. Out of these 3 books, The Wicked King is first for me in terms of like best one, and then Queen of Nothing obviously comes close second. Like, it's so hard to pick between these. I wanted to talk about this trilogy really quick. This trilogy changed my life, I'm not even kidding you. It changed my DNA. The Cruel Prince. Horrible. Maybe like 75% of the book is the most horrible world building. You have to get through it. You have to do it. That's why I'm saying The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing are literally the same thing for me. I wish so badly that these were the same book so that I could include just this one thing in my top 5 favorite books I've ever read. These are so good that I don't even care that this book was hard to swallow and get through. This is like the best. I'm counting this as one book, the trilogy. If you like reading fantasy and you haven't read these books, do it now. What are you waiting for? I have recommended this trilogy to 2 of my best friends, and I said, listen, you have to get through the first book. After you get through the first book, then you're in for it, and it'll be life-changing. It will change the chemical imbalance in your brain. Like, it will change you. They wholeheartedly agreed with me. They were super satisfied. They were obsessed. They loved the characters. They loved the storyline. After reading this trilogy, you go through like a withdrawal period. It feels like you were addicted to drugs because you're like shaking and bouncing, trying to like get through your obsession about this trilogy and about this world. But yeah, this is my 5th book. That's all. If I made you mad, let me know in the comments. If you agreed with any of my top 5 favorite books, let me know in the comments as well. Or let me know in the comments your top 5 favorite or top 5 worst books ever.